Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. We post an interview with an amazing Canadian each weekday for your daily inspiration. Today, I would like to introduce you to one of my dear friends, Wayne Stewart. Wayne was born on a farm north of Goderich, Ontario, close to Lake Huron. He learned to work hard and accept responsibility at a very young age. Wayne is blessed by a family from birth with lots of love and learning. He has two sisters who he loves, and both are in Ontario. Wayne's life partner, Martha, yes, Martha Stewart, is a wonderful woman, compassionate, wise, pragmatic, and he sometimes marvels at the conclusions she reaches from a set of facts, and she's almost always right. I have a feeling she's more than almost always right. He loves her to bits. They have three great adult children and three grandkids, and he's proud of all of them. Besides Wayne's loved ones, he's very passionate about the natural world, creation, protecting and preserving nature's resources, water, air, special places for future generations. Those in need, the poor, the homeless, the abused. He gets particularly upset, and I share this with him, seeing young children suffer from poverty, abuse, lack of food, or opportunity. He tells me that there is no excuse for this happening in Canada, and I agree. Education, preparing students for life and citizenship, not just for jobs, for leadership, not just for management. Friends, you will find his full bio attached. Wayne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here, Catherine.
I'm glad you're here. Are you ready for the questions I sent you?
Yes, let's
Wonderful.
go.
Okay, the first one is, what's been your greatest challenge over the last few months?
Well, I've had two things that have bothered me. The first is boredom. At my age and stage of life, most of the work I do, and it's all volunteer, is getting together with younger people and sharing my experiences, providing them with whatever wisdom I've accumulated, and sometimes it's useful. The second thing is frustration, and this I've carried for quite a long time. So it's frustration at the fact that self-interest seems to have taken over from the common good, that many people are motivated solely by self-interest without concern for the common good. And the second frustration is how governments, senior levels of government at the province and the federal government, seem to be trying to sneak in legislation and policies that have negative long-term impacts in the midst of a pandemic. And I think we're just not paying enough attention to the longer term impacts of some of these policies.
I understand your frustration. And how about the three things that you'd like to share with the audience today?
I'm sorry?
There's three things that you would like to share with the audience today?
Well, one of the questions you asked when you asked me to provide some information was what legacy and I guess you're going to ask that question later, but let me answer it now. I'm hoping that what I can provide is a model of a life of what I hope has been integrity and certainly of service. A life that was lived with the importance of lifelong learning and the importance of a broad education, and in my case, an eclectic career path. And finally, the importance of self-awareness to leadership. Now, you asked me about three things
Sure.
I'd like to share. Well, for people, the first one is pay attention and get involved. Don't let others make all the decisions for you. I think in a lot of cases we float through life when we're busy, and very often we just don't have time to pay attention to things beyond our job and our family. But it's important that we keep track of what's happening and what's likely to happen in the long term. So that's one thing. Pay attention and get involved. The second is the importance of a broad education. I have more than one degree, let me just put it that way. I started out with engineering, which was for job. I did an MBA, which was for job. And then I dived into the humanities. And in my life, the way I've lived my life, the humanities have turned out to be most important. So I think it's important that people get educated in the humanities, in philosophy, in my case, religious studies and political science. Now, the political science can have negative implications because sometimes it leads you to thinking that you might make a politician. And I've had two shots at that, and neither one has worked out particularly well, but had a great time, and it was great learning, and it taught me to pay attention.
I
That's
love it.
two.
That's
Is that
true.
enough?
No, yeah, whatever you want. This is your show.
Well, when I slow down, you take over.
You're amazing, Wayne.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done with that question. Give me another one.
Another one. Do you have any good news stories or anything you want to share with everyone? Anything you've been working on?
Yeah, a couple of things that have come out of the pandemic, and I think there are some positive things that might come out of the pandemic if we're attentive to the potential. One of them was the importance of collective action and the importance of public services. And very often in the West, in the Western world, we seem to be a rush to privatize everything on the belief that the private sector can do everything better than the public sector. And I'm very concerned about that. And I think the pandemic has shown that. Take one example, senior care homes, which is getting increasingly important to me. The private sector care homes, which operate necessarily on the need to produce a profit, had more trouble than those that were operated by either the public sector or the nonprofit sector. And so we need to be attentive to that and not denigrate the public sector all the time, as we seem to do in the Western world these days. Another thing that I think's come out of the pandemic is an understanding of the importance of frontline workers and the fact that we don't pay them commensurate with their importance to our lives. And that's something we need to redress. I've long been attracted to the thought of Joseph Stiglitz and others about the ills of inequality. And we see growing inequality. It's particularly a problem in the US, and we see the impact of that in the political situation down there now. But it's sneaking into Canada. Inequality, there are just too many people who are left without enough resources. And I think that the pandemic has shown that there is a way to solve inequality which attacks poverty and homelessness at the same time. And I don't think we're ever going to attack poverty successfully until we address the question of inequality.
Excellent. Thank you, Wayne. Always words of wisdom. I always love chatting with you.
Well, you see where the philosophy education comes in.
Of course.
Which creates problems because I still don't know how to get on some of these technical issues that you would have me on. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
You did great, Wayne. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Everyone, that was my dear friend, Wayne Stewart. Amazing man and an amazing contributor to this wonderful country that we live in. Thank you so much for joining us today. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and tell everybody. Thanks so much. Enjoy your day.